Alright, I'm back. Later than I'd planned. I'll admit. I am about half an hour late, so my bad. Um, yeah, I was just, objectively, I was just tired. So, it is what it is, really. Right. I was doing this. So, gonna roll my sleeves up. Yeah, it's just gonna be a lot of faffing, I think. Faffing, and if I get around to fast cast, then epic and cool. Still not sure what I used to clean this up last time. Maybe it was something to this effect. But I gotta be really careful. I am very paranoid about accidentally digging into something and screwing it up. So it was this. Seems fairly effective. I honestly don't remember. It's not as good as I thought it was. Yeah. I don't remember how I managed to tidy this all up last time I did it. So, oh well, I guess. I feel like it was this one. I don't know. Brush is very helpful, to be honest. So gonna get a splinter. Oh well. I just want to clear out as much of this as I can. Really, it's from in here. So, I think I will just bite the bullet and accept that this part will take a while. I don't need this bit. It's a lot that I don't need, really. Dangerously close to humming again. Started off the morning with Sabaton again, and then wound up back at Ghost, so, that's where I'm at currently. I really do wish that streaming and music wasn't such a contentious issue. I know I've been over it before, but I'm such a massive fan of music and people sharing stuff that they like. I think it's really important. But then not everyone feels as strongly about it as I do. wonder if this one's going to be any easier. Not particularly. These bits were always going to be just unfun. Just clear out as much as I can. And then beyond that, kind of just is what it is, really. And I got to consider how much fast cast I want to mix up, because I want to do it as a solid block. So probably quite a bit, but then when it goes, it does just go. So no, we'll see. I'll give it a think. Because the initial cast is going to be covered in blood anyway, so yeah, in fairness, the first one is kind of going to be sacrificial one anyway. And ends up being decent, then cool. Well, I kind of need to use it to clean everything out first. These edges are bothering me. I can't continue. Like before, it doesn't matter. It just bothers me. And it is very satisfying. It's probably about all these scissors are good for at this point. get my hands on some better ones. Oops. It's fine. Definitely fine. I think that's going to be too rounded to be useful. No, I don't know, though. I wonder. Yeah, it's too rounded to be useful. Fair enough. Fair enough. Just get the feeling I'm going to be here for a while. It is what it is. I don't know why I was using my hand this whole time. Well. At least it's a fairly chilled out task for this early in the morning. I don't mind a whole bunch. And progress is progress, so you know. Dig out the mould I've got for my Deku mask somewhere. I haven't cast one of those for ages. I've only cast one iteration, and I gave it to a mate of mine who's a massive fan of Majora's Mask. So, yeah, need to do more of those. It turned out pretty cool. Keep thinking about other tools I could be using. Again, I'm really nervy around these middle bits. suppose the very bottom doesn't really matter. So there's going to be a gold strip that runs through it. It's only really the sides that matter. When I say bottom, I mean like the tops of these, you know. Bits that are easier to get to don't matter so much. Oh, that's a surprise. Let's see. I can get to the bits that are right down in there. Potentially with this. Not a bad strat. I didn't set the fan up before I started recording. That was a mistake. Should go and do that in a second. It's already quite uncomfortable. I'm gonna go do that real quick. Still over here, so it's fine. Need to not electrocute myself on the plug again. That keeps happening. Know why. Right. Fan established. Why are those tiny scissors? I think I'm gonna need them. for a few undercut areas that I'm pretty sure don't need to be there. A couple options. I'm pretty sure these will be the ones that actually work though. So, let me see if I can get rid of this little bit. Yeah. Kind of. Just in here. Doesn't need to be there. Oh, some tweezers. Saw them earlier, so they're not down there. They're here. Yes. There's another one on the other side. Fixes that. This edge in here as well. Fortunately, as I say, I'll be sanding down the back anyway. So that doesn't matter a whole bunch. Anything that could affect areas that matter, I'm going to attempt to trim fairly carefully. I think that's going to matter. Doesn't matter, but it's annoying me, so... this bit in here. These again for a second. Like a back alley surgeon. Mostly okay. undercuts from there anyway. Mess with the cast later on. Just want to try and stop anything that's inhibiting it, getting in the way. Anything that could inhibit it, I should say. Yeah, that's all whatever, really. So that's fine. It's the only trouble with silicone is everything sticks to it. It's super annoying. In fairness, this doesn't look too bad. Better than it was. Not perfect by any stretch. It's definitely better than it was. That bit's going to be where the guard goes anyway, so that's not a big deal, to be honest. There's one bit down here I'd like to try and trim if I can. It's going to be interesting. This bit in here. Okay, that's fine. That's a plus. Nice. This is actually starting to get places, which is nice. I think most of this I'm going to have to clear out with fast cast, which is fine. I had debated doing an initial cast in plaster just to get rid of all the crud. But I don't know. I feel like that's going to end up taking longer than I want it to. Just to cure. Then I also don't really want to be wasting fast cast because I am going to need it. So maybe that's what I'll do. I'll make an initial plaster one just to try and get rid of the rest of the crud. I can do it properly after that. Maybe that's the way to do it. I'm also wondering whether if I'd stuck it in the fridge, it'd be easier to get a lot of this out. This maybe. I don't know. There's just so much of it around these middle bits. Then I knew that was going to be the case, really. I'd forgotten when I went to try and demold everything. And then I was promptly reminded. So much up in the real nooks and crannies of this. Yeah, like up in here. It just occurred to me that I can pick this thing up to look at it. Don't know why I didn't do that sooner. There you go. Try and find where the camera wants it to be. work at it from there. Camera and the light. Where do you want me to be? You want me to be over here? Feel like if I'm not careful, I'll be here forever. Just gotta get out the worst of it. And the sacrificial cast can contend with the rest. Yeah, maybe I will do a plaster one first. faster kicking about. I'll just have to go get some warm water. I think it's quicker with warm water. I think. As far as getting the worst of it out, believe it or not, I think I kind of sort of have. Mostly. I think it's going to be kind of tricky from here. Because I could spend forever scratching away at stuff. But I think a cast will contend with a lot of it. Wasn't looking at the viewfinder, my bad. That was a really irritating angle. That's not bad. Oops. Not the worst thing. I don't think there's anything else that's super pressing. I think it's all a similar sort of level of oof. Similar degree of not ideal. a whole lot more, so oh well. Fair enough. Right, I think I'm gonna have one extra trim around the edges and stuff. Then I will go and find some warm water. And yeah, I think a plaster one actually might be a strat. There's that hole in the ruler. That little bit on there. Quite funny. And that was another gap on one of the sides. You can kind of see the numbers on here. That's cool. Awesome. Don't know what I was expecting, really, but just made me chuckle. It's the little things. What can I say? Let's just kind of pulls off. That's alright. As I said before, when I'm done with this, I'll use it for mold keys. So, you know. Try to minimize wasting things where I can. The rest is just me being fussy, so I need to walk away. Right. I am going to go and get some warm water and also spray this with mold release. So, oops, and kick the camera. My bad. Right. Please focus. Please. Oh, no, it's gonna die. Epic. Okay. Ooh. Alright. Okay, I'll be back in a sec. Bear with. Alright, I'm back. I've sprayed this with mold release. I have a thing of warm water. And then I just have to mix up some stuff. I have a container that I'm, not super precious about, so that should be fine. Then plaster I had in here. I had 2 different kinds. Trying to remember which was what. What was this one? This one was the fine one. So I suppose the other one was the less fine one. Also fiberglass everywhere, which I'm sure is fine. That's whatever. Try and cut the tape on this and see what one this is. Attempting to cut anything with these scissors is a mistake. This one. This is the high strength one. I feel like it's going to be more apt. I think I will choose that one over the fine one. I don't know, let me read on it. Effective plaster work, blah blah blah. What does this one say? Well, I don't think it's going to matter a whole bunch. I will do the fine one for now, because I don't think I'm going to need high strength. I don't think that's going to matter particularly. So, okay, this container appears to be not as watertight as I thought it was. Awesome. That's fine. It's fine, I've got a flannel out here, I can clean this up. That's annoying. Alright, well. Let me stick some water in here. I'm not sure how much I'm going to need, so I'll just do a scoop for now and see what happens. Whatever, I guess. Now, I've never looked at the recommended ratios for these things before. Okay. Well, we'll see. Now, plaster is dust, so I'm going to put on a dust mask. Because irrespective of how careful I definitely am, when it matters I am, I'm still not risking anything. Alright. And I mean, I've also got a fan going, so, you know, that should kind of help, really. But yeah, there will be no risking of anything, frankly. I'm only going to snip a tiny corner of this. Because again, I'm not risking anything. I quite enjoy having lungs. So, probably going to end up making more than I need, but there you go. I definitely am with this amount of water. Alright, hang on. Because I can probably make this less annoying. Yeah, I've got a cup I was going to get rid of anyway, so we dump a bunch of water in that. Yeah, that should be better. And if I end up needing more water, then fine. Whatever. I'll just add some back. No biggie. Yeah, there's no way I'm going to need more water. Good grief. That is not going to be an issue, realistically. Oh. May as well use this. It's easy enough to clean after the fact, so, you know, whatever. I should have picked a container with less ridges in it, though. That would have been smart of me. Yeah, I should have thought about this not being a perfectly smooth container. But I didn't think about it. Ultimately, I continue to be myself. Wonder how much this will cover. Probably not much. But it seems like a fairly decent consistency, so I'm inclined to try it and see what happens. As I say, if it's only for the purpose of clearing up the icky bits anyway, I'm not super pressed. Should probably use a better implement than this. I've got leftover spatulas. That's way more sensible, good grief. If nothing else, this will be an interesting experiment. Not done anything with plaster for ages. Not since I covered myself in plaster bandages. I don't really count that. Really. Yeah, the ridges in this was a mistake. But, well. At least I managed to guess roughly the right amount. Yeah, note to self, don't do that again. Grief. Smells nice though. always liked the smell of plaster. It's that kind of dusty smell. Like when it rains and you get that sort of dusty smell. I always overestimate how much water I'm going to need. Oh, well. Can't say it matters a whole bunch, realistically. Not for this. That's starting to get kind of solid in places. Good, good. Means I can kind of smush it a bit more. Ooh, and also dig into it like an idiot. My bad. Yeah, I'll not be using this container for this purpose again. Hindsight is 2020 and all that. I do have another container that I'd used for plaster before, but it was too big for this. So I didn't use it. Okay, so this actually goes off a lot quicker than I thought it would, which is nice. Probably because of the warm water thing, which was the plan. So, yeah, that side of things was sensible. Just the rest of it that wasn't. So, oh well, I guess. Yeah, at this point, it's just kind of grit and dust, so whatevs, I guess. Just try and smush it around as much as I can. Alright, I'm going to leave it alone now. More or less. Yeah, more or less. Get rid of that stick. Clean that tab out at some other point. Unless I just dump some water in it now, then, you know, ought to make my life slightly easier down the line. That's the theory. Alright, well, I'll just leave that to do its thing now. Wipe the plaster off my stick. Cool. Then I guess I'll just kind of clear things up for a bit. How long have I got till work? Okay. Not that long anyway, so really. Kinda, sorta works out anyway. And by the time I get to come content with this, it'll be in a good position to just demold it, have a gander, hope that it cleared up most of the ick and mess. Then I'll be able to actually fast cast some stuff, which will be nice. Do I have? Ah, I do. A bunch of clothes pegs that I can use for this. Nice. Cool. And I can just pop this back as it was. That deals with that. Yeah, I'm just gonna have a clean up. Guess I might as well. Mold walls, handy. This was the old sculpt. I'll try and collect up a bunch of this. This will be one of those things I just dump in the slow cooker and contend with later on. It looks kind of cool, just, you know, as it is. Pretty funky. Hopefully, it will make for a pretty epic blade. Eventually. In fairness, depending on how well this comes out, I might be able to use plaster rather than fast cast. But it depends. If it's too brittle, then I won't. We'll see. I'll probably conclude it's too brittle. But who knows? If it's not too brittle and it holds enough detail, then that would be nice. Conserve the fast cast. It's more here, okay. The slightly scuffed one, though, I remember. I remember. Mold walls, which I kind of want to keep somewhere sort of nearby, so I don't forget that they exist. What if I grab one of these? That seems fair enough. That's now got water in it, so I want to get rid of that anyway. It's already fairly solid. Cool. I hadn't actually checked how long the casting time was. Let me have a read. Yeah. It's not going to tell me? That's annoying. Oh well. It's fine. I'll have to leave it for the rest of this morning anyway. So much debris kicking about. I'll have to vacuum in here again soon. There's no point the whole time I've got a major part of a project going on, because it will just become a mess again. At the end of each phase, I can just have a real good tidy up. So that's pretty okay. Right. Let's whack all these back in here. They're all tools that I've used for various. And this thing as well. This thing's been great. Like plasterers thing. That's been awesome. Cling film is useful. That's fair enough. More palette knives, useful. Probably peel a lot of the crud off of this now. Yeah, that's fine. Give it a decent wipe. And that just goes back to being a ruler. I tend to use tape measures anyway, but useful to have. And it's Woolworths, which is hilarious, because that's not been a thing here for a very long time. I think it's still a thing in other countries. I think. I'm not sure though. That deals with one of them. Let's look at the other one. And that's mostly fine. My hands are covered in crud now, but oh well. That deals with both the rulers. So that's a plus. Nice and toasty. Still too soft. It's going to be like that. So that's whatever. Keep out the dagger pattern pieces. But I'll put the scrap pattern paper down here. I'm bound to use it at some point. It's always the way. This I don't need anymore, technically. Used it. So might as well just get rid of that. That's whatever. This can stay, this can stay. This can stay in case I use that to inform my golden line down the middle. All of these can go. Okay, that is considerably clearer. Still a mess, but it's considerably clearer. I've still got this this little 3D printed Squirtle that I was working on for a friend. Need to do something with that. Can I safely and sensibly move this out the way? Yeah, kinda. Let me spin it the other way. That's better. Cool. Then I can get to the bits up here that I want to get rid of. So it's just carnage up this back part of the bench. I can exist in chaos to a point, and then it starts to annoy me. That's all mold wall clay, that's fine. These little bricks of clay, I might stick in some of the cling film actually. That might be a decent way of keeping these from getting grody. I do have a fan on, so maybe this wasn't the best idea. Oh, always pin the end down with one of them. Dust off the crud. This is always the most annoying part about casting stuff. It's just waiting. Like, you know, necessary evil, yada yada. But particularly when it's like I can't go and do anything else because I have to leave for work anyway. Otherwise, it's like, at least I've got X, Y, and Z that I can do in the meantime. But nope. No such luck. Then have all of these. So I'm thinking I do that, that, that. Is that going to get annoying? Probably. Alright. I'll just do the original plan. And that. Good enough. At least it stops them getting covered in dust. So, it's whatever. Leave them over here for now. So I can dust things again. And now you can kind of see the carnage I've been operating under. And this is better than it was. So, you know. You can be vaguely sympathetic for my cause. Scissors. Mold walls. Fair enough. And there's an awful lot of crud up the back. And along the plugs. So, what I'm inclined to do, peel that back. Bring a load of this down. And out of the way. Because I'd vacuum it, but, you know, 4 AM and probably shouldn't. Later on in the day would be fine, but for now, probably just shouldn't. And keep all my tools together for a minute. Alright, at least it's better than it was. That's something. Can't imagine I'm going to need that anymore. The famous last words. Kind of will have to move the entire board to get at the rest. Deciding whether I can be bothered. Whether any of this really matters or not. Mostly just killing time at this point, because I'll need to go to work in a second anyway. So, oh well. How long have I been here for? Nearly a couple hours. Okay, it's not the worst. Not the best, but it's not the worst. Realistically, it's probably an hour and a half of actually doing stuff. If that. Yeah, is what it is. Objectively, it is what it is. Yeah, need to have a proper tidy up at some point. It is at that stage now where it's getting annoying. I'll have to contend with that as and when, I suppose. Scissors that suck. Mm. Oops. Too late. Alright. Screw it. At this point, I am just killing time, so there's no point in continuing to stream it. As soon as this is... It's still too soft. As soon as this is good to demold, then obviously I'll whack the camera back on and do so. But that's probably not going to be until maybe tomorrow if I end up getting round to it. But it depends. It depends how late I end up staying at work today, because it might be late. I'm not sure yet. Weekends are like that. So, anyways. For now, that's kind of it. So, yeah. I will catch you guys maybe tomorrow, maybe later today, depending on what time I get back from work and all the rest of it. So, until then, have a good one, and see you in a bit.